Out in the once rural fields of Louisville, Kentucky, exists a beautiful but haunting building with a rich history. From a family home to becoming one of the largest tuberculosis facilities in the country, Waverly Hills Sanatorium carries an incredibly deep-rooted legacy of pain, sorrow, death, mistreatment, and spectral experiences. What or who haunts the halls of Waverly Hills? Join us today as we discuss the history and hauntings of Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Welcome back to
Unknown,
Unsolved,
Unseen,
Triple U.
Woohoo!
Woo!
Welcome back to episode, was it 74?
Sure.
You don't write your episode numbers on yours?
No. You do a way better job with that than I do.
How do you know what we're on?
I don't. It's a surprise 74. Every time.
This is, in fact, 74.
Well, I'm so proud of you that you were right.
I'm your ghoulish host, Frank.
I am your haunting host, Sage.
Or HH.
Yeah. Double H. Instead of HEE, or HE double hockey stick, it's just double H.
Double hockey sticks.
So, do you have any announcements today before we get in?
Not really much of anything to announce.
Alrighty. Should I just take it away then?
Go for it.
All right. So there, it's going to be a good list of trigger warnings for today. That usually tends to come with our episodes where we go through the history of some pretty horrible stuff. So today's trigger warnings are death, torture, pretty barbaric treatment, mentions of the death of a dog, death of children, suicide, murder, and the ending of a pregnancy.
And tuberculosis.
Yes. Before we get into the hauntings, as we always do...
What's the topic?
I said it at the beginning.
I thought you were going to say it again. You're asking me if I do anything.
Today's topic is Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
Whoa, no way!
Frank, do you know anything?
Oh, I know a thing or two about Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Dare I say, I might have been there once before.
Yes.
Have you ever been there?
I have been there.
Whoa, it's so crazy. It's like you and I went there, maybe at the same time.
Together.
Maybe at the same time that we did it together, at the same time of the year, in the same building, all localized within the state of Kentucky.
Ooh, gotta make sure that we get that, one Simpsons reference in every episode.
Actually, it's the Steam Tams reference.
Sure. All right, so before we get in, we can talk about, closer to the end, what our experience was like there and what we know.
Not about Steam Tams?
No. I have a section at the end where I talk a little bit about what I remember, so if you want to add there what you remember, if that's cool.
Yeah, I can talk about that. Can I talk about one thing I remember?
Yeah.
Hot as balls.
I did write a little bit about that.
All the tours before us got canceled because it was too damn hot.
Yeah. So before we get into the hauntings, as we always do, we are going to start with the history of Waverly Hills. As much as I love the paranormal, like the rest of us, I really think it's important to leave room for the incredible history of these places and showcase their place in history.
Especially in a haunted place, you gotta know the backstory besides, like, they're ghosts here. Why are they there? They're just there.
Yeah. It's also important that those who experience life and or death here are also seen, heard, and known, and that they do not just become obsolete or residuals of the past. There's way more history to Waverly Hills than I expected, so I was actually had a lot of fun researching this.
That's good.
So in 1883, Major Thomas H. Hayes purchased the land that the infamous Waverly Hills Sanatorium currently sits on, and he made it into the Hayes family home. The new home was located in the rural areas of Louisville, Jefferson County, Kentucky. And since the home was located so far away from any existing schools, because again, this is rural in the 1800s, Major Hayes opened a local school for his daughters to attend on the grounds of the property. He started the one-room schoolhouse on Pages Lane and hired Lizzie Lee Harris as the teacher. Just, little tidbit here. Just remember, at this time, schoolhouses had all the students in the school rather than separated by age. I just think that's such a fascinating setup. So I figured I'd make sure I add that in there. So Lizzie Harris had a great fondness for Walter Scott's Waverly novels, but this was spelled Waverely. It has an extra E.
Weird.
Yeah. So she named the schoolhouse Waverly School with Major Hayes' permission. And Major Hayes liked that name so much because it sounded peaceful. And that was what he wanted for his property. And so he named the property as a whole Waverly Hill. In the early 1900s, Jefferson County was hit by an outbreak of tuberculosis.
Not the tuberculosis.
What's that from?
I don't know, just me.
Oh.
I want to call it tuberculosis.
I thought you were,
Nope,
making a joke.
I'm just calling it tuberculosis.
Yeah. Or what was, the best I can say is affectionately nicknamed the White Plague, White Death, or Consumption.
Those damn white people causing death.
That's a little too relevant right now. If you're like me and don't know exactly what tuberculosis is, look no further, as I have done. Well, I guess listen no further. I don't know, whatever. I have done the work for you. Tuberculosis is a serious, contagious infection caused by the Mycobacterium tuberculosis bacteria, primarily affecting the lungs, but capable of attacking the kidneys, the spine, and the brain. It is spread through the air when an infected person coughs or sneezes. It is treatable and curable, but it can be fatal if it's not properly managed. On my little soapbox here, that's why it's imperative to get the tuberculosis vaccine, the TB. Especially if you're going to be volunteering in schools and stuff. In the early...
RFK Jr. says it's bad.
He can fuck off. In his stupid little sauna with jeans.
But raw milk is better.
Ew. So in this time in the early 1900s, Louisville had one of the highest rates of tuberculosis deaths in the entire United States. And just to put it in perspective, at the time, 25% of the deaths in the United States were from tuberculosis in this period. 1 in 4 people died from it. Like one of 4 people who died had tuberculosis.
That's crazy.
Since Louisville is nestled in the Ohio Valley, among the wetlands of the Ohio River, this was the perfect breeding ground for tuberculosis bacteria due to the moisture and the lack of airflow. In an attempt to contain the disease, a, quote, Board of Tuberculosis Hospital was established in 1906. The search began for a proper location to construct a facility that could house tuberculosis patients safely. Eventually, Hayes' property was chosen for several reasons. Its distance from the city, its picturesque, tranquil view, as well as its high altitude with increased airflow. I would think that there was some kind of contract or money exchanged, because I don't think this is an eminent, or is that how you say eminent domain? Eminent domain?
Are you talking when government takes it over, right?
Yeah.
Eminent domain.
Okay, I don't think this is that kind of situation, but I didn't find any information on whether Hayes sold the property or loaned it, or what happened with that now the Board of Trustees is using it. It is not known when exactly Waverly Hills had its name changed to exclude the second E, but the spelling has fluctuated between both spellings with and without the second E over the years. Most commonly seen now when describing Waverly Hills is without that second E. So that's Waverly instead of ELY. In 1908, ground was broken on what would become known as Waverly Hills Sanatorium. And over the next 2 years, a 2-story wooden sanatorium was opened, which contained an administrative/main area building, as well as 2 open-air pavilions, which each housed up to 20 patients. These pavilions were for, like, quote, early cases, or ones that were caught early and thought to be easier to treat. The total cost of the construction was $25,000. I believe that's $25,000 at that time. And so this time I did look it up. And our trusty Google Gemini states that the purchasing power of the dollar in 1908 is 35 times that of the dollar today, which is fucked up. But overall, that $25,000 today would be approximately $880,800.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. The sanatorium was opened on July 26th, 1910. Really quick, I do want to pause here and explain the difference between sanatorium, which is Sanatorium, and sanitarium, which is Sanitarium, which is something that I don't think I ever actually knew the difference between. But I spelled it multiple different ways throughout this entire thing until I realized.
I love that, diversity you're giving us.
Yeah, so according to Google Gemini, again,
Is that
it's
the
just
DEI they talk about all the time whenever you spell shit different?
sanitarium and sanatorium are historically similar terms for long-term care facilities, but traditionally a sanatorium, so S-A-N-A, was
Santa.
was
down.
was a specialized hospital for treating chronic illnesses like tuberculosis, while a sanitarium, S-A-N-I, which was often used in North America, acted more like a health resort or spa, focusing on rehabilitation, diet, and rest. So sanatorium, S-A-N-A, has an origin in the Latin word sano, which means to heal. And these were primarily 19th to 20th century institutions for treating tuberculosis using fresh air, sunlight, and rest. Sanitarium, so S-A-N-I, is derived from the Latin word sanitas, meaning health. These were often seen as places for recovery, convalescence, or in some cases, holistic, diet-focused wellness. While distinct in their early 20th century usage, Garner's usage tip of the day notes that for much of the 20th century, both terms have been used interchangeably to describe institutions for chronic care or convalescence. Both terms are largely obsolete today, though, due to the advent of antibiotics for tuberculosis, though they do obviously appear in historical contexts. So, interesting. So, due to the continued rapid influx of tuberculosis cases, the hospital was soon, over capacity, as they usually end up being, and the city of Louisville began to make preparations to build a new Louisville City Hospital in the early part of 1911. The hospital commissioners decided in their plans that there would not be a provision made in the new city hospital for the admission of pulmonary tuberculosis. As I mentioned earlier, the original hospital building was for the early cases of tuberculosis, while pulmonary tuberculosis is considered to be more advanced. The Board of Tuberculosis Hospital was given another $25,000 by the city to build a hospital that could care for the advanced cases of pulmonary tuberculosis. On August 31st, 1912, the tuberculosis patients currently being housed at the city hospital were relocated to temporary quarters in tents on the grounds of Waverly Hills. They would remain there pending the completion of a hospital.
A free camping trip?
Essentially. For advanced cases. Not that fun, though. Later that year, in 1912, the hospital for advanced cases opened for the treatment of 40 patients, allowing those on the grounds to be moved into the new hospital. In 1914, the Children's Pavilion added another 50 beds, making the known capacity around 130 patients in total. The Children's Pavilion was not only for sick children, but also for the children of tuberculosis patients who could not be cared for properly otherwise. How absolutely crazy is it that they stuck sick kids with the healthy kids of tuberculosis patients?
You know what? Spread the love. Kids will be kids.
It's just like you're asking for more people to get sick. I don't know. I don't know how to justify it.
You know what? More TB, am I right? More tuberculosis.
Sure. No.
It's like Oprah Winfrey.
Say no.
You get tuberculosis, you get tuberculosis, and you get tuberculosis.
Say no to tuberculosis. Reportedly, the goal was to add a new building each year to continually grow the capacity of the hospital, and therefore it's thought that there was likely more beds available than officially listed. Unsurprisingly, these buildings also quickly became at capacity due to the continued growing number of cases of tuberculosis in Jefferson County. Again, due to the region's climate being a perfect breeding ground for tuberculosis bacteria. Additionally, due to the constant need for repairs on the wooden buildings, the need for a stronger structure and constant need for repairs the need for a stronger structure and the need for more beds led to the development of a new and larger tuberculosis hospital. At the time that the construction began in March 1924, the hospital was actually having to turn people away due to the lack of capacity. So it's no wonder that they wanted something bigger to be able to provide care for everyone. And after careful planning, the construction of a 5-story building that could house more than 400 patients began in March of 1924. And it was designed by local renowned architect D.X. Murphy. The new building, Waverly Hills Sanatorium, opened on October 17th of 1926. Over the following years, Waverly would become a nearly, quote, self-contained community. Laundry facilities, a maintenance garage, a butchery, as well as several hundred acres of farmland were established on, quote, the hill.
I'm assuming farmland actually was used as farmland.
Yes. Yeah, so what I was understanding by self-contained is it was basically like its own little city, so that people didn't have to like leave to go out and get stuff, because that was more likely to spread tuberculosis.
Yep. Unless you send the kids out with it, they're totally not contagious.
Definitely not.
Those little plague bears. That's what children are. Nice.
At the time, Waverly Hills was considered the most advanced tuberculosis sanatorium in the United States.
I've been there. It don't look so advanced to me.
Due to the quote, treatments that it used. Unfortunately, though, most of the patients would pass from tuberculosis in the hospital, though the exact number of how many died there is unknown.
At least 2.
Definitely at least 2.
Maybe 3.
Maybe 3.
Pushing when we get to 4 and 5.
At the time of Waverly Hills being open for treatment of tuberculosis, most of the patients succumbed to the disease, obviously because there was no medicine available at the time to treat tuberculosis. The best that they could do was be offered rest, fresh air, and a nutritious diet. What is sad, though, is that the main use for the hospital was to isolate those who had contracted the disease and keep them away from those who had not. I am assuming this was not only in an effort to try to prevent the spread, but also because it was easier to hide them away than it was to try to find a way to treat them ethically, because we'll go into that. Because of this separation, many families were tragically divided up, and parents, partners, and children, etc., were forced to move into different areas of the sanatorium with little to no contact with their loved ones. People would die alone, except for the other patients who were dying beside them. While there was no medicine to treat tuberculosis, and most hospitals used fresh air, food, and rest, it is not to say that there were not other attempts at treating tuberculosis. And sometimes these treatments were as bad as the disease itself, even equating the experiments that were conducted in search for a cure to be deemed, quote, barbaric by today's standards. There was a few benign ones that existed, though. So one of those is exposing patients' lungs to ultraviolet light to try and stop the spread of the bacteria. This exposure was done in either sunrooms, like quote sunrooms, which I think is interesting, that what we call sunrooms now.
Was like rooms with like glass, like window panes that were supposed to like amplify the sun's energy.
So this was actually artificial light that was used in the place of sunlight.
Okay, interesting. Not what I expected whatsoever.
Yeah. Or the patients were placed on the roof or on open porches of the hospital to get the natural sunlight, ultraviolet rays. Fresh air was also thought to be a possible cure.
Which is for dead people?
Yes, fresh air is for dead people. Go morbid. And so patients were often placed in front of huge windows or on the open porches as well, no matter what the season was. When we were there in the summer a few years ago, I remember being on the top floor and then seeing that there's literally no actual windows on the top floors, and it was hot as hell. So also on the opposite side of that, according to some old photographs, patients have been seen in the photographs lounging in chairs in the fresh air while literally covered with snow. Talk about a resh.
Freaky fresh, I guess. But all right, I didn't really know what to say there.
So unfortunately, other treatments were far less pleasant than those. So this is where I would throw in the trigger warning for some barbaric treatments, because it's going to get rough real quick.
Oh dear.
Balloons would be surgically implanted in the lungs.
I was about to say balloons aren't that scary, and then yeah.
And then filled with air to expand them in hopes of allowing more air into the lungs.
That just seems I don't know what to say to that. How would you surgically remove it, or like get the balloon in there?
Surgery? Cutting
that
everything
puts them
open?
at more risk.
Probably. This practice is actually still used today, though it's called balloon dilatation to open up restricted airways.
Dilation?
No, dilatation.
Oh, okay. I just thought you were mispronouncing a word, but nope.
I saw it spelled that way. It's possible that the sources were wrong, but it's to open up restricted airways that's caused by tuberculosis. In the 1920s to 40s, though, this often had very poor results or quite literally no effect at all. A similar procedure that I couldn't determine if it used a balloon or not, but this was referred to as collapse therapy.
I think you could put a balloon animal in there.
Maybe. Where the lungs, so collapse therapy, where the lungs were filled with air, specifically creating an artificial pneumothorax by injecting nitrogen or oxygen into the chest cavity. They believed that collapsing the diseased lung would allow tuberculosis cavities to heal and limit the spread of the infection by restricting oxygen supply needed by the mycobacterium tuberculosis bacteria to thrive.
Okay, that's an interesting science.
Yeah, so essentially they collapsed the lung that was sicker and cut the oxygen supply off just enough that they wanted it to heal.
And the human body could still recover and heal itself.
Yeah, and then it would use the other lung.
Okay. But like eventually you'd be back to 2 lungs.
That was the hope. There was also an operation where the muscles and ribs were removed from the patient's chest to allow the lungs to expand further into the chest cavity and let in more oxygen. So like, if you think of doing like an autopsy, I don't know if you've ever seen that. They basically
like a Y incision.
It's basically that, but they would remove all that musculature as well as a couple of the ribs so allow more room for the lungs to expand.
Okay.
This was seen as a last resort, though, because
why.
Many patients did not survive it due to the brutality and blood loss.
Shocker. What year are we talking about right now?
This is the 20s to 40s.
1920s to 40s.
Yeah. So patients could also have their lymph nodes removed from the lung.
Hey, you need that.
During a lobectomy, or have portions of the lung removed in a pneumectomy. Sorry, this is big medical words. For patients whose tuberculosis had spread to their brain, doctors would administer electroshock therapy to combat the psychological effects of the disease.
Or maybe they just do a lobotomy.
Yeah, the lobotomy wasn't at the time, though. I think that was 43.
Weak. To lobotomize yourself and your friends.
So
I just wait every day for the lobotomy truck to come by and offer lobotomies.
So electroshock therapy, unsurprisingly, really had no.
Whoa! No way.
Positive effects.
No way! I can't shock the tuberculosis out of me.
No. So
Lame.
While it cannot be argued that some patients were able to survive the disease, as well as some of the barbaric treatments, not all patients were able to leave through the front doors. Those who passed while at the sanatorium left the building through what was, again, affectionately called the body chute. Though it's not a chute. It's an enclosed tunnel for the dead that led from the hospital to railroad tracks at the bottom of the hill. Using a motorized rail and a cable system, the bodies were lowered in secret to the waiting trains. This was done so that patients would not see how many were leaving the hospital as dead, like as dead people, corpses. Their mental health, the doctors believed, was just as important as their physical health, which I would say is a good thing, because we know from all most of the other stories that I've done, that mental health is often neglected in these patients for the reason of abusing them or, trying out these barbaric, basically torturous treatments on them. So at least there's like some hope or knowledge that at the very least they had a little bit of care for these people's mental health.
You know what, somewhat. We'll take that. We'll take the small W's we can get versus the mountain of L's.
Yeah. So treatments of tuberculosis were considered obsolete somewhat quickly, though, after the introduction of streptomycin, a new antibiotic, in 1943.
You mean raw milk?
Following the introduction of this antibiotic, the number of tuberculosis cases gradually lowered, and until there was no longer a need for a 5-story hospital designed specifically for treating tuberculosis. Patients could begin being treated for tuberculosis cases on an outpatient basis because of the vaccine. That means just going to your regular doctor.
I mean, your regular guy who should be giving you raw milk.
Remaining patients at the sanatorium were sent to Hazelwood Sanatorium, which was also located in Louisville, but it was far smaller than Waverly Hills. And Waverly Hills Sanatorium officially closed its doors in June of 1961.
That's honestly not that long ago.
I know, it's crazy. Fortunately, it did not stay closed for long, and in 1962, the Woodhaven Geriatric Center, a nursing home primarily for patients who were receiving treatment for aging with various stages of dementia and mobility limits, as well as those who were diagnosed with cognitive impairments. That's like what they focused on. Unfortunately, though, the nursing home would not stay open for very long.
No!
Though that is actually fortunate, because it would be closed by the state of Kentucky in 1980. It was open from 62 to 80. Due to the deteriorating grounds and patient neglect because of being severely understaffed and overcrowded. There were reports of mistreatment on the residents, including locking patients in their room for hours or days at a time, leaving them dehydrated, malnourished, misdiagnosed, and overall neglected significantly. Remember, these are people who have mobility issues or with various stages of dementia. So locking them away into rooms, letting them be dehydrated and stuff, is just exacerbating the symptoms they already have.
Not helping whatsoever.
No.
God, I love the American healthcare system.
Yeah, it's fucked because we still have shit like this.
Richest in the world and richest in injustice.
Yeah. So another local developer from Simpsonville, Kentucky.
Simpsons.
J. Clifford Todd bought the hospital in 1983 for just over $3 million, as well as the several remaining facilities built that were on the acreage and 40 acres. The remainder of the land was auctioned off. So Waverly Hills acreage was like in the hundreds. He bought 40 acres. The rest of it was auctioned off, which is why today Waverly Hills has very little acreage.
Didn't they, they destroyed a lot of the old buildings, right?
Yeah. It's pretty much the big one that's there. J. Clifford Todd, the developer, and Milton Thompson, an architect, wanted to convert the hospital into a minimum security prison for the state. However...
Oh yeah, more prisons! Woo! This is America.
The plan was dropped, though, after neighbors to the to the building protested about having a prison that close to their homes. So they were okay with the tuberculosis facility, but not a prison. Which is fair.
Tuberculosis is kind and gentle. Prisoners, not so much.
Well, tuberculosis really isn't kind or gentle. It's just not, it's inward, not outward, I guess. So Todd and Thompson then proposed converting the hospital into apartments, which I am a fan of for some buildings. Big historic buildings like this, I would say no. But, buildings that are just abandoned that could be made into apartments and stuff like that, I do think is more appropriate than buying farmland and putting them on there. But I don't have money to be a developer, so I guess I don't have no say.
We should just start buying up people's land and just kicking them off. Ain't that right? God bless you, Scott Altman. Woo! Mark Zuckerberg, love what you're doing. Elon Musk, you too. Wonderful people. We gotta defend our billionaires.
So this also fell through, though, after they were unable to get land purchased from them, by the city, I think, for them to start the conversion project. And so my understanding is the property and the building sat vacant for 13 years. And these guys pretty much lost a lot of money on it. This was until March of 1996 when Robert Alberhaski bought Waverly Hills and the surrounding land. Robert was the leader of Christ the Redeemer Foundation, Inc., and he had made plans to construct, get this, the world's tallest statue of Jesus on the site, along with an arts and worship center. The statue was inspired by the famed Christ the Redeemer statue on Corcovado Mountain in Rio de Janeiro, and it was set to be designed by local sculptor Ed Hamilton and architect Jasper Ward. The first phase of the development, coming in at a cost of $4 million, would have been the statue at 150 feet or 46 meters for my metric system, folks. What's our system called again?
We're the imperial system.
Yeah, and metric is the other one.
Yeah.
So 46 meters tall.
That's metric.
And 150 feet or 46 meters wide. Situated on the roof of the sanatorium. The second phase would convert the old sanatorium into a chapel, theater, and a gift shop.
Oh, hell yeah, gift shop.
At the cost.
All rides end at the gift shop.
Yeah, at the cost of $8 million or more. Donations to the project, though, fell short of what was expected and needed. And if you had to guess how much money was raised towards this in the first year, what would you say?
$35.
Higher.
50.
No, I mean 4 digits at least.
2,000.
Close. 3.
Damn.
So it needed a total of $12 million. And in the first year, they raised $3,000.
You go, $20. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, this was despite efforts to pull money from across the United States. And ultimately, the project was canceled in December of 1997.
Oh my goodness. Why do these people have to just hate America and not donate money to tear down Waverly Hills? Come on.
So Robert abandoned the Waverly Hill property, and in order to recoup some of the costs, he did try to have the property condemned so the building could be torn down and redeveloped. This plan was, obviously, blocked by the county, and according to rumor, demolition work was then done around the southern edge of the building in order to undermine the structural foundations and collect insurance money. I'm just not sure if that went through.
I love me some insurance fraud. Woo, insurance fraud. That's what I like to see.
Oh, Charlie. Over the next several years, though, the main building, as well as all the surrounding structures, would fall into a very sad state of abandonment. Unfortunately for him, but good for us, his insurance plans failed, insurance fraud failed. And in 2001, Waverly Hills was sold to Tina and Charlie Mattingly. The Mattingleys have established the Waverly Hills Historical Society in an effort to raise funds to help restore the interior of the old sanatorium. They do this through offering tours, an annual haunted house held on the main building's first floor, as well as hosting private events in the restored laundry room. As of when we were there a few years ago, they were working to restore all of the windows in the building and restore the interior of the sanatorium at the time as well.
And you can see the stuff about the Halloween decorations up in certain areas too.
Yeah, I hated that though.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
I'm not a fan of that. Not necessarily because I have mixed thoughts on people using haunted houses within actual, like, historical haunted places. One, because a part of me feels like that's desecrating the, like, remains of the house and the history. But two, that means that, like, you can't ghost hunt there in October because everything's, like, set up like a freaking haunted house and it's scary.
Yeah, that's one tough thing. Doing ghost hunts in October, which is cool and all, is hard to do.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to Waverly Hills in October just to do the stupid haunted house thing. Which, like, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. Just not my jam. So.
Fair enough. Now, guys, I think we're going to get some spooky real soon. But before that, let's take a little break here for a message from one of our friends.
Some people start their week with coffee. Ale starts hers with ghosts, mysteries, and things that go bump in the night. Welcome to Macabre Mondays, the podcast where mysteries meet the macabre. Join Alejandra, a lifelong storyteller with a passion for the strange and spooky, as she shares chilling tales with her husband Tom, who's hearing them for the very first time. It's part marriage, part mayhem, and all mystery. Your weekly escape into haunted history, unsolved oddities, and the darker corners of life. New episodes drop every Monday, so ditch the morning blues and press play on something a little more macabre. Listen to Macabre Mondays wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, thank you for listening to that message from our friends. And now back to the spooky wookie from Sage.
Yes, so now what you're really here for after you've listened to my historical spiel. The ghosties.
The ghost with the most?
Yes. So, despite all the research that's been done on Waverly Hills Sanatorium, no one is certain how many people have died there. Some claim that as many as 65,000 to 68,000 people have died on the property, but realistically the number is believed to be closer to 8,000, which is a startlingly drastic difference. I believe
Still
that's
a lot of people.
No, it's definitely still a lot of people. Way big difference though, but I think it's because Waverly Hills is massive, but the patients weren't like on top of each other. Like it fit 400. Yeah. So realistically, it wouldn't even have housed 60-something thousand, I don't think.
And how many years was it operating in as a sanatorium?
It opened in 26, closed in
61.
I think, yeah.
Was 61 the closing of the sanatorium or closing of the elderly care facility?
Okay, hold on. Let me go back and look.
Because there's a big difference between
it opened
which one.
On October 17th of 1926, and then it closed June 1961. So like 35 years.
35 years, 8,000 deaths, so you're a couple hundred a year. That's still a good amount.
It is, so...
Well, 37 years, say you had 200 deaths a year, that's 7,000 something, so you have a little over 200 a year, which you're getting close to averaging one a day.
Yeah, and if you think it only houses 400 people.
And tuberculosis treatment became a lot better in the second half of its lifespan as a sanatorium.
Yeah, for the last 1943.
So you probably have you're front loaded on your deaths too.
Yeah.
Using my big brain.
So, even so though, like Frank said, 8,000 is still a lot of people to die, and especially from a small place like Jefferson County. And also keep in mind that tuberculosis was a very slow and painful death, as the body would sadly, as many put it, waste away. Even after Waverly Hills closed as a tuberculosis hospital, it reopened as a nursing home then that developed a reputation for inhumane treatment of patients, which in and of itself holds residual trauma as well. So Waverly Hills Sanatorium, if you know anything about it, has a reputation as one of the world's most haunted places. And genuinely, I think that it is. Like, I know that everybody touts themselves as this is the most haunted.
This one
in
touts
America.
it more than anywhere else, though.
But I do think that this one has reason to, in my opinion.
See, I see a lot of most haunted place in like X country, like Bærumsværk is one of the most haunted. Is the most haunted town in Norway. The Huis Binnenveld is one of the most haunted mansions in Netherlands, and then this is the most haunted place in the United States.
Yeah.
And then Crescent Hotel and Spa currently is most haunted hotel in America, and Stanley Hotel is second.
So prior to the designation on the National Register of Historical Places, Waverly Hills had been left to decay. As a result of the tragedies that happened within its walls, paranormal investigators, including local teens and lovers of the paranormal, have identified several active haunted areas and experiences within the massive Waverly Hills complex.
All of it is active haunted areas.
Pretty much.
Nothing is spared from the ghost.
Yep. So paint peels off doors, debris litters the hallways, and graffiti covers the walls, creating a distinctly unsettling atmosphere. Despite and in spite of the restorations made to the building, the spirits remain on the property. People have encountered, so I'm going to go pretty much one by one. So people have encountered the ghost of a doctor in a white lab coat entering the 4th floor operating room. Witnesses have seen a ghost chef in the abandoned kitchen and smelled baking bread.
Let him cook. What's he cooking, though?
Bread. Other legends told of a man in a white coat who was seen walking in the kitchen and the smell of cooking food that would sometimes waft through the room. The kitchen was a disaster. The ruin of broken windows, fallen plaster, broken tables and chairs, and puddles of water and debris that resulted from the roof above leaking. And the cafeteria has not fared much better. But even so, people have reported hearing footsteps in the room, have heard a door swing shut under its own power, and many people, again, report the smell of fresh baked bread. During the years that Waverly Hills stood abandoned, 2 men did reportedly die on the property. One was said to have been murdered by drug dealers, and the other one, very sadly, fell down the elevator shaft with his dog.
It's like confirmed.
I don't know that it's 100% confirmed, but I do believe that it's on record.
That's sad.
Since then, the apparitions of both men and the dog have been seen on the property. And owner Tina Mattingly has also reportedly seen the ghost man and his dog while locking up after a tour.
I think that's fake.
Why?
All dogs go to heaven, so the dog shouldn't be there.
It's just its residual happy energy, hopefully.
What if he haunts us?
I'm okay with that. That's in reference to our dog Atlas, in case anyone's
I
asking.
pointed right. Yeah, I should mention he is right now sleeping in front of us, and he's so fucking cute right now in his sleeping position.
Yeah, he's on his little elevated bed.
And he's like curled up. His one ear is like actually hanging off the bed based on how he's sitting.
Yeah, he's adorable. And his
He's so
legs
cute.
are like crisscrossed.
You might have heard him a few times, he kicked his legs a few times in his sleep, like he's running. So you might have heard that a few times.
Yeah, Alice doesn't make biscuits. He runs from something
He's not a baker.
or towards
He's
something.
running for that gold at the Olympics.
Yes,
They need a pet Olympics.
they do.
The Olympics.
The Pup Olympics.
The Pup Olympics. Oh, he's doing a big stretch now.
I was gonna say, speaking of his noises.
Big stretch.
So, others have had run-ins with Timmy, who is likely one of the best known. Who is likely one of the best-known ghosts residing at Waverly Hills. And this is connected to a young boy named Timmy O'Shea, who lived in the children's pavilion while his parents were being treated for stage 3 tuberculosis. He's described now as a spectral boy who roams the hallways and likes to play ball, similar to how he would have with other children when he was alive. And this is often on the roof of the sanatorium. You might be able to see where this is going. Unfortunately, one day, Timmy fell off the roof while playing, and he died. A police investigation determined that it was an accident, but there were rumors that he had been pushed by a man standing near him at the time of the fall, but it's unconfirmed. Police report states that it was accidental. Over the years, people have brought balls for Timmy to play with. In certain instances, these balls appear to move on their own or roll back to the person who threw them, as if Timmy continues to play with the guests. There is often a little girl seen running up and down the 3rd floor solarium, and sometimes, if you're not seeing her, she can be seen in the stairwells, where she likes to also run up and down them. A phantom hearse has been spotted in the back of the building, dropping off coffins. Visitors tell of slamming doors, lights in the windows as if power was still running through the building, even though we know it's not. Well, there is some power now. But through most of the building, there's not. Strange sounds and eerie footsteps in empty rooms. Perhaps the greatest and most controversial legend of Waverly Hills is connected to the 5th floor of the building. This floor of the old hospital consists of 2 nurses' stations, a pantry, a linen room, medicine room, and 2 medium-sized rooms on both sides of the 2 nurses' stations. One of these rooms, room 502, is the subject of many rumors and legends, and just about every curiosity seeker that has broken into Waverly Hills over the years has wanted to see it. This was prior to them buying it and opening it for tours. This is where, according to stories, people have seen shapes moving in the windows, have heard disembodied voices, and if the legends are to be believed, supposedly people have been pushed to jump off themselves. There's a lot of legends about what went on in this part of the hospital, but perhaps the biggest misconception was that this was a floor used to house mentally ill tuberculosis patients. That was not the case. Again, patients here were not insane, nor were they confined to their rooms. And I use the word insane because that's what they would have used then. Now, we call it mentally. We do definitely not call it a kooky. So,
Not kooky? Like
No.
cuckoo?
for Cocoa Puffs?
Yeah, should somebody who's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs go to? No. What would it be called now? A mental health facility?
Yeah.
Definitely not called insane asylum
No,
anymore.
definitely. Yeah, like a behavioral health or mental health.
Okay. And that's what I always try to remember is what the correct name is today, because originally it was insane asylum, then it was mental health facility or something, and that's not correct anymore. Or
Yeah.
mental health hospital is what it used to be, but that's not correct anymore either. Because I forget what it is. But I don't think that's the acceptable term.
Places that I refer to are like behavioral health. So like blank behavioral health, or rehabilitation, mental health rehabilitation.
I think it was insane asylum, the mental health asylum, the mental health
a
hospital.
lunatic asylum was in there too.
Yeah, well, that was about the same time as insane asylum.
Yeah.
Don't know which came first, because I know there's one in Harrisburg that I think it ended at mental hospital.
Mental hospital is different than mental health hospital.
Yeah. Mental hospital, that's what I meant. But yeah, I went from lunatic / insane asylum to mental asylum to mental hospital to whatever we have now.
A mental health facility, mental health, behavioral health.
It's crazy the evolution of the name of it, because I try to remember when I talk about a place, like what phase was in. Because one Harrisburg, I believe, closed down as a mental hospital, not an insane asylum or lunatic asylum. But Trans-Allegheny closed down as a lunatic asylum.
Yeah.
And then some other ones closed down as insane asylums, too.
Yeah.
Everything was at different phases.
Yeah.
It's just a phase, Mom.
So they were also not confined to their rooms. They were free to move about, just like patients on all of the other floors of the hospital. This floor, thanks to its design, though, allowed patients to still benefit from fresh air and sunshine that was believed to be the cure, or at least extend their life, of those with the disease. It was centered in the middle of the hospital, and the 2 wards extend out from the nurses' station, were glassed in on all sides, and opened out onto a patio-type roof. I don't know, do you remember that from when we were there? The way that was...
Oh, those big balconies on the sides, and like how the rooms were so easy to like get to the balcony?
Yeah, where it was all glass around the top.
No, actually, yeah, I might.
Because we had to crawl, like we had to go through that to get to the patio on the outside.
I think so.
I think, yeah, I'm seeing it in my brain. Although that was we'll explain later, but that was
something else.
That was a hard day to remember because of how fucking hot it was.
Yeah.
So, back to the very sad story. So, according to the stories, a nurse was found dead in room 502 in 1928. She had completed suicide by hanging herself from the light fixture. She was 29 years old at the time of her death, unmarried, and she was pregnant. Her depression over the situation may have led her to take her own life. At the time, as we know, a child born out of wedlock was very much shunned, like significantly.
Them Jon Snows out there.
It's unknown how long she may have been hanging in this room before her body was discovered, which is very sad. Another version of the story goes that this woman, who I don't know if they've officially confirmed her as the name Mary, or if that's just the name they've given her, but they say that Mary died after a doctor performed a botched abortion on her, and then he subsequently staged her death as a suicide. There are also conflicting accounts as to how she managed to hang herself. Some say that she did it from the light fixture, others from a pipe over the door, and some say from the rafters. There are no rafters. The pipe over the door was part of a sprinkler system installed in 1972, and the light fixture is hung on a light decorative chain that would not hold the weight of a person, so unknown where she would have actually hung herself. And this would not be the only tragedy, unfortunately, to occur with a connection to room 502. In 1932, so just 4 years later, another nurse who worked in the same room jumped from the roof patio and plunged several stories to her death. No one seems to know why she would have done this, but many have speculated that she may have actually been pushed over the edge. But there's no records to indicate this, though rumors continue to persist about it. There is no actual documentation of either death, although some claim the stories were verified by a former staff member, John Thornberry, who died in 2006. However, according to his obituary, he was born in 1922, which would have made him 6 and 10 years old at the time of the alleged deaths that were connected to room 502. So we really have to take his word with a grain of salt, because if he was a staff member there later, he himself is still pretty much being told rumors and stories. He wasn't there to actually witness those deaths.
So many of these things have such sensationalized, crazy stories.
Yeah. Visitors to Waverly Hills are often struck by an overwhelmingly negative feeling upon entering room 502. EVP sessions have picked up the words, quote, "get back" inside the room, which, like, my opinion, could be referenced to, like, get back from the ledge, maybe. And the phantom screeching of the chair that the woman may have kicked out from under herself to be hanged. That's also audibly heard. Some have also seen the apparition of a nurse looking out the window. And also on the 5th floor, visitors have encountered the full-bodied apparition of a woman running down the corridor with her wrists cut and screaming. I don't know that that is connected to these two nurses, though, because I didn't read anything about that happening to them. In addition to these identifiable spirits, there are also countless shadow figures that lurk amongst the 5.
We're going to talk about the one.
Mm-hmm. The 5 floors of Waverly Hills. The most disturbing is an entity known as... You know it?
Say it. I know which one.
Well, I'm asking if you know it.
I know.
That's why I want you to say it.
Well, I have some of the same response when you say it.
The Creeper.
Creeper? Oh man.
What is that?
It's a Minecraft meme. It's like when people... There's a whole lot of parody Minecraft songs based on actual songs. One of them goes, Creeper? Oh man. And it was like a meme for a little bit of time.
I thought you were going to say Creeper Hardly Know Her.
Creeper Hardly Knew Her?
So...
Now, is this creeper... Does it have no arms? Is it green with 4 legs? And does it explode when it sees people?
No.
That's not the type of creeper I'm thinking of, too.
No.
They're good sources of gunpowder, I gotta say, but this one does not seem like it will provide us any gunpowder if we slay it.
This isn't a good source of anything, to be honest.
Oh my... No gunpowder, no green, no Minecraft.
So,
lame.
Is a notorious, non-human, very large shadow figure or shadow entity.
And doesn't walk on the ceiling.
It has been spotted climbing the walls and the ceiling of the 4th floor. It is hands down the most intimidating spirit in the entire sanatorium. Again, it manifests itself as a twisted shadow creature, and it's also been known to appear in the sanatorium hallways as well, not just within rooms, but it's really the hallway. If spotted, it has long, crudely twisted arms and legs, and it seems to be spotted approaching some unlucky visitors in various ways. Most commonly, it's spotted crawling along the floor, while the other times the creeper is on the ceiling, slowly approaching those who are unsuspecting. One of the associations of being in the presence of the creeper is doom. Paranormal investigators that come to Waverly Hills have claimed that when the creeper has been spotted, they suddenly have such an overwhelming sense of dread that saturates them, and that this feeling of impending doom is immediately there.
You're so, like, soaked by the doom.
Yes, and more often than not, they have to leave the property as it takes hours for this feeling to go away and for them to calm down again.
Well, we did not have that happen there, so I want my money back.
Yeah, so it's considered one of the most terrifying, inhuman, or, quote, wrong apparitions within the famously haunted facility.
You're wrong.
So, another...
Look at the creeper when he shows up and be like, you're wrong. Even with the Donald J. Trump. You have seen the list, most likely.
And also just started the war in Iran.
Yeah. Certified shitbag.
Yeah. Another terrifying entity visitors are rumored to encounter at Waverly Hills is that of doppelgangers.
Bum, bum, bum. I think that can be a whole episode on its own. Atlas is getting in better position. But doppelgangers and mimics can be its whole own like episode eventually.
I put very little effort into writing anything down about these because the one that starts with the W and the flesh pedestrians are like a huge freaking fear of mine.
So the one that you're saying that begins W has nothing to do with
I know, but I'm just saying.
It just has to do with cannibalism.
It groups into my fear because they're things that they come when you say their name.
But back on the doppelgangers, I don't know. I just thought of this recently. On the No Sleep podcast, there's a really good like doppelganger horror story where a guy could have sworn he was getting followed by a doppelganger, and eventually he like goes into like gets a motel room, and he like leaves and comes back, and his doppelganger's in there, and he like sneaks up on it, and I think like hits it in the head and kills it, and then he like searches through its stuff and finds like all of like his belongings, like his wallet and all this stuff. and a phone that should belong to him, and then he checks his own stuff and he has none of it. He's the doppelganger.
Oh shit.
And he didn't realize it.
Ew. These entities look precisely like their victims. So imagine you're in Waverly Hills, which is arguably the most haunted place in the United States of America, and you're walking around and then you see someone who looks just like you, except it's in the dark, freaking creepy, debris everywhere, paint down the, like, whatever you want to call it, demolished, whatever, the halls of Waverly Hills. You just see legitimately a cloned copy of yourself.
Now, here's a question. What's worse? A doppelganger of yourself or a doppelganger of somebody you know trying to act human?
Somebody you know trying to act human.
If you're interested in something like that, it's free on YouTube, but there's a movie called There Are Monsters, or I think that's what it's called, There Are Monsters now. It's a doppelganger horror movie, like indie horror movie. It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is kind of basically based off that. But that's another one where it's like everyone's slowly getting replaced by doppelgangers. And at least in There Are Monsters, some of them are like trying hard to act human, but are very bad at it.
What's the one book that you read that's getting turned into a movie? Like They Were Here or something like that?
Huh? Premise? Something?
Like,
all the books I've read.
I think it had to do with doppelgangers.
Oh.
They're making it into a movie. They were here.
We used to live here.
We used to live here.
Oh my god, that book is so
That's doppelgangers, right?
It's doppelgangers, it's other universe. It's insane.
Okay. Frank's recommendation for this episode is to go read that book.
Oh, that book has a whole subreddit because the authors mentioned there's multiple, like, codes and hidden messages in the book, and people are still trying to decipher it. And, like, there's one theory I found that I think it's, like, definitely true based on something in the book. I'm not going to spoil for people, but fuck, that book has you fucked up by the end. Like, it's
I do remember
insane.
when you finished reading that. That's good. They're making it a movie now, so I think you're gonna have.
Yeah,
we should do like either like a bonus episode or like a review episode or something where like you go see that and then you can do like a little mini.
Hey, if we get enough people, we can do a book club here and there where like we alternate every month between Sage type book and me book.
Yeah.
Yeah, spread the word to your friends. Have them listen to the podcast so we can have more viewers. Algorithm shit, help us out.
I don't do anything that's horror, and I don't know that any book that I read has anything to do with what we talk about on here. Unless we do something that has to do with having sex with Bigfoot. Or
hey. Antonio Villas-Boas got down and nasty with the aliens.
Oh, there is Ice Planet Barbarians, which is all... There's so much alien spice books. I'm literally going to an entire book con that's related to that.
Aliens and Antonio Villas-Boas, he fucking, planted the flag with the aliens, I guess.
Disgusting.
Neil Armstrong may have planted the flag on the moon, but Antonio Villas-Boas planted the flag with the aliens.
I don't know how to even respond.
God, that's such a dirty one, too, but I want to give respect to the man. He became a lawyer then later and had a family.
Oh, he had a family.
And he fucked an alien.
So there's an old superstition that people have been known to die after seeing their doppelganger. So take that as you will. Which literally...
I forgot that's what we were talking about.
Literally, if you talk about the No Sleep podcast story you said, it actually happened. The doppelganger killed him. And so he died after...
And the doppelganger thought he was the real one.
That's so creepy to me. I can't even... I can't wrap my brain around that. That freaks me out. But... witnesses have also felt spirits holding their hands while walking down the hallways, which, if you ask me, is very, very cute if we knew who was holding their hand.
It's the creeper. Aw, man.
Ay. Others have felt body pain as if experiencing the symptoms of tuberculosis or the barbaric surgeries.
That's how I feel today after all of those allergens I fucking inhaled.
Yeah. Or the barbaric surgeries once performed here.
Not the ice barbarians?
No, not the Ice Planet Barbarians. Volunteers working toward the restoration of the building have experienced ghostly sounds, heard slamming doors, saw lights appear in the building when there should have been none, had objects thrown at them, were struck, not touched, but struck by unseen hands, saw apparitions in doorways and corridors as well.
If I slap you and you don't see me, is that an unseen hand?
I suppose so. Faces often appear in the windows of empty rooms, and neighbors reported seeing lights on at the sanatorium during the years when there was no electricity. So different than now where there's some electricity, neighbors report that there was lights on when there was none. Auditory hauntings include screams, moans, sounds of doctors performing surgery, and relentless coughing.
Sounds like me today.
Children's laughter has
Not
also
me
been
today.
heard there. There is nothing scarier to me. No, there's a lot of things scarier to me, but it's in my top 10 things that are the scariest things in the world is children's laughter when there's no child around.
Especially if it's an abandoned place, definitely, and even worse would be a liminal space. Fucking hate liminal spaces. They're so weird.
What's that?
It's like backroom style stuff, like abandoned mall, but it's not like run down.
Ew. I now don't like that either.
Liminal spaces are good for horror.
It does give you the reminder,
Not good
though.
for my mind.
The sounds and stuff, though, they do give you a reminder, though, of like what was happening here. Like all that residual sound is like coming because people had some of the worst times of their life here.
Okay.
In the body chute, EVPs, or it's electronic voice phenomenon.
Yes.
Collected from this area of the sanatorium has said words like pain and leave now. Some people also see shadow figures, but because there's no light in the area, because there's no light in the body chute, we know that all too well. Did you go the whole way to the bottom?
No, we weren't able to.
That's because it had water, right?
I think it was closed off part of the way, but it's very deep.
It's very, yeah.
It's also way steeper when you're actually like on it. And because of like water, moisture collects and goes down, it's also slippery.
Yeah, so one side of it is a ramp, and the other side is stairs.
Even though stairs are slippery, I believe.
Yeah, the stairs were, I'm just saying, like, the way that it's set up.
Yeah.
One side's the ramp, and it was because, like, nurses and stuff would have to roll the bodies down that. Bodies were not just, like, the one thing I think is a misconception is that bodies were just, like, let go like an actual chute.
Like a luge guy.
Yeah, kind of.
Like Winter Olympics, shout out luge.
Yeah, it's not that way. They, like, were rolled down, but there was, like, the ramp side and then the stair side for the nurses or whoever. I doubt it might not have been the nurses that were doing that. And then at the bottom, they were obviously taken to, like, the train or whatever. Or hearses. But the shadow figures that are seen there often disappear as quickly as they appear because there's no light. So it's like, it's basically looking at darkness that is darker than dark, if that makes sense.
It's
like, you know how people describe...
darkness.
Yeah, you know how people describe, like, the Hat Man, where, like, it's dark in your room?
Yeah.
But he's darker than the rest of it. It's like that. And then, lastly, others report seeing orbs and balls of light in the chute as well.
Oh shit, it might be a Raiju or Revenant then. Maybe an Obake.
Sure.
Could be a Mimic.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, you know, that kind of connects with what we were talking earlier.
Yeah. So some pop culture here. In 2010, our beloved Zach Baggins
Zach Bigot.
and the team from Ghost Adventures were locked inside Waverly Hills for an overnight investigation. During this investigation, the team captured several EVP recordings, including a distant voice asking, "Remember me?" At one point in the investigation, Zach climbed into the morgue cooler, which would have been used to store bodies before being transported off the property. And while lying in the now non-functioning cooler, Zach felt extremely lethargic for no reason and ultimately had to leave the area to regain some of his energy.
Was he attacked?
I have to say, I love Ghost Adventures because it's fun to watch, but I do think a lot of that stuff is incredibly exaggerated, and so we have to take that one with a grain of salt.
He gets attacked within like 30 minutes of it going anywhere, and then witches are typically around the property burning stuff to hex him everywhere he goes. And also, sometimes Aaron just is compelled to eat candy or drink.
Yeah. The show Ghost Hunters,
Which I respect more.
Yes, I respect much more. Aired their first investigation of Waverly Hills in 2007. So 18 years ago. It's crazy.
Maybe they should have been like Ghost Hunter International and just kept looking for the ghost of Hitler in like 3 different episodes.
They also returned for a second investigation in 2021, though I don't think I ever watched that one. Because I think that's the one that doesn't
Are they still filming Ghost Hunters?
Yeah, it just doesn't have Grant. It's the...
Oh, and the one guy selling fucking books now.
Yeah,
He was at the...
both of them were. Both, like, the new... They're not new because they've been together for a while. It's just missing Grant. Like, that whole crew without Grant was at Penhurst Asylum last year.
And that crew, one of them has a book which looks like a good book, but it's like $30 at a bookstore, and he was selling it like directly for $40.
Yeah.
And then he'd sign it for like an additional $30.
Yeah.
Scam.
In the second episode, lead investigator Grant Wilson referred to Waverly Hills as, quote, kind of like a department store for the paranormal. Each floor is something different. During these investigations, the team captured multiple shadow figures inside the hospital, and they heard banging doors while they were in the body chute. I like Ghost Hunters too because I feel like it's just so much more real. Like, they work to debunk as much stuff as possible, and then
like the Spinnerveld one I did, they debunked most of what they had.
Yeah,
like they point to guys like, this window here is open and that's why stuff's moving. It's like, are you sure about that? Yes, they like pointed to the window and showed that it had a draft.
Yeah. Perhaps more unsettling was a time where just regular paranormal investigators were investigating, and a prankster ghost locked them within the body chute. And owner Tina Mattingly has confirmed that multiple people, herself included, have also been locked in the body chute over the years.
That's so fucking scary. I'd hate that.
Yeah. Amy Bruni, who I did use her cookbook, Food to Die For, as one of my sources. And I know that Frank and I don't mention this often, but if you look at our descriptions, all the sources we use in the trigger warnings and stuff are within our descriptions. So I know some of, like, I don't mention a whole lot of them, like, straight up as I'm sharing the research, but everything we use is linked below.
Books are mentioned below, what exactly they are, and websites are linked, and any documentaries we use are also linked.
Yeah.
We like to keep our integrity and let you guys know so we aren't making up random shit.
Yeah, no AI usage here other than Google Gemini, I guess.
To the guy who questioned on the Orang Pendek episode, we're not AI, and we're not writing this with AI.
Somebody questioned?
Orang Pendek episode, he said, AI question mark?
Why? That's horrible.
I don't fucking know.
Nah, fam, we spend a lot of hours.
Yeah, and
researching.
That's why we are recording the day before it releases every time.
Yeah, because it takes a long time. And we also work full-time jobs and have a pet.
Yeah, the puppy is very hands-on right now. We're trying to get ahead, and it's just sometimes it's finding that drive where we're not crashing out every night and going to sleep.
Yeah, and personal things going on and stuff too. Like, there's just a whole lot.
Yeah,
so
there's a lot of things going on
it's all
in the
us.
personal life.
So,
yay!
Amy Bruni and Adam Barry ventured to Waverly Hills to investigate, and this led them to making contact with the spirits of former nurses that were trapped at the hospital. That their spirits are believed to be trapped there. The experiences.
Hopefully, my yawn was not caught there, but continue.
The experience was so powerful that Amy and Adam started their own ghost hunting show, Kindred Spirits, because Amy was originally on Ghost Hunters, if I recall correctly, and then branched off and started her own Kindred Spirits.
Whatever you say.
Because I remember her saying, I know she was a part of it because I remember watching her do some investigations.
She's one we saw speak, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we went to her.
We have a signed book plate. We went to her thing at Penn State York, RIP. They're shutting that down.
Yeah.
But she did a speaking thing on her book, made some of the recipes, and I got to try some cornbread.
Yeah, Frank got to try some old cornbread. So, if you don't know what this book is, it's not a cookbook that I would say is the best for actually making recipes out of.
Some of the meals in there are like downright absolutely horrible, and she admits it.
Yeah, but the reason that she did it, so it's called The Food to Die For. I linked it below. Let me see if I can find the full name. It's recipes and stories from America's most legendary haunted places.
So, the recipes have to do with something of the haunted place. Like there's a haunted chip, and she's like, and the recipe is for this really cheap, shitty food they used to have back in the 1600s when they sail. It tastes absolutely awful, but it was able to be made efficiently with whatever means. So this thing tastes horrible if you want to try it. Yeah.
There's some that I think are like...
Yeah, some are good. Some are really...
What'd you think of the
awful.
cornbread?
It was okay. Some people like corn in their cornbread. I don't.
Yeah. It's more like a cream of corn.
Yeah.
Like how my mom makes it, which I do like the way that my mom makes it.
I don't like corn kernels and chunks in my cornbread, but to each their own. I know a lot of people do prefer that too.
Oh, my mom made such a delicious gluten-free cornbread for me this year for Thanksgiving.
They were out of cornbread at Cracker Barrel last weekend.
I know, poor Frank, and then I got to eat the biscuits because he doesn't eat biscuits.
You biscuits.
So, after returning to investigate Waverly Hills for kindred spirits, Amy and Adam researched the haunting of the seemingly malevolent entity, Mr. Reaper, that lived on the 4th floor. Through their research, Amy and Adam determined that here's the thing, I guess, I don't actually know if they're talking about the creeper, because they said that through their research, they found that it was a former patient named John Mitchell. I personally believe that the creeper is not human at all, and it's a spirit it's a devil spirit, demon.
A daemon.
Nice.
I can't believe we did that in you. We share the same brain some days and some moments.
We're so married. But yes.
A daemon. So continue about your daemon.
So I guess this John Mitchell, his wife had been murdered by a man that she was having an affair with while John was at Waverly Hills. Unable to care for his children, they became wards of the state. And as a result of the physical and emotional pain he had endured, John's spirit haunts the 4th floor decades after his death. But again, I don't think he's actually the creeper. I don't think they were saying he was the creeper, and I don't think he was the creeper. Amy and Adam captured John's shape on their SLS camera, and they were able to communicate with him. And while he was initially...
They had the SLS camera to phasmophobia.
Yeah. While he was initially unhappy with their presence, they did seem to give his spirit some sense of closure towards the end, though.
All right.
For Frank and I's experience. So Frank and I were able to visit Waverly Hills in the summer of 2022 while on a family vacation with my family.
You gotta check out 2 haunted things on that trip.
What was the other one?
We went to the International Paranormal Research Center in Somerset, Kentucky, which I know is currently closed. I think it's for relocation or permanently closed. I'm not sure. But they had haunted dolls and other things there. Mm-hmm. That was cool. I would love to interview them.
Did go to Mammoth Cave as well, which think
also is haunted. So we went to 3 haunted places.
Because Mammoth Cave was also used for tuberculosis patients, wasn't
it? But the ghost that people typically see is the original explorer.
Yeah,
they will see him on tours.
Yeah, yeah. So, while I wish we could say that we experienced something terrifying and insane and spooky and scary, we can't, because other than the fact that it was 100-something degrees with 80% plus humidity and one of the hottest days I've ever experienced, right?
Yeah, that whole weekend fucking
That is why we were so fucking hot. Because remember, you have to remember, there's no air conditioning. You're 5 stories up at one point. You're walking shit tons of stairs because there's no working elevators and stuff like that. It was ungodly hot. It was and we were going at dusk, into darkness. And because we started our tour, we didn't do a super late tour because my grandparents went with us. But we did the evening tour.
Which was the earliest because everything before was canceled because it was so fucking hot.
Yeah, and oh my god, it was unbelievably brutal. What did we get to eat that day, though?
Zaxby's.
I did get to try Zaxby's. That was pretty all right.
That was good. I liked it.
But yeah, so do you have anything that you want to add about that experience for yourself?
It was neat. I actually, nothing really. I took a bunch of pictures. Nothing was in any of them.
Yeah, me either.
That was about all that I could tell from it. There were a few Pokemon there in Pokemon Go.
Yeah, nice.
Not many.
I mean, it is pretty much set up exactly the way that I described. It's 5 stories. It really is run down. They're trying to restore it. They have a lot of the first floor restored. They have a gift shop area. They have an area where they do the intro before you get started with the tour, and things like that. They're making sure it's safe enough for you to walk through. Whatever. Great. I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, I loved our tour guide. She was very sweet and very knowledgeable, very funny. So it was a good experience overall. I would love to do an actual investigation, and that's why I say I don't like when they do the haunted houses in October, because that'd be the perfect place, perfect time to go to a place like that. But that's just me. So
here's the other question: we've been to a handful of haunted places for like whether it be a haunted tour or just a tour in general of the place. What all have we been to? I can think of 3 right now.
So we've done Sachs Bridge in Gettysburg.
Okay. Oh yeah, so then that make it 4.
And we did
We've done
Suicide Bridge. Suicide something.
I thought that was the same thing.
No, Sachs is the covered bridge.
Okay.
I think Suicide Bridge is the other one. That's its nickname. That's not its real name.
Trip, so I count that as one.
Yeah,
we did
done
a Gettysburg thing.
Yeah, I've done many Gettysburg ghost tours.
We've done a Gettysburg one together. It's not necessarily ghost related, but we did take pictures in case. We did Moundsville Penitentiary,
which is
it's West Virginia State Penitentiary. Yeah, that's a really cool. I would love to do an investigation there.
We did Williamsburg ghost hunt at Williamsburg.
Oh yeah, well, ghost walk.
Ghost walk, yeah.
We've done
went through Waverly Hills, went through Mammoth Caves,
Eastern State Penitentiary.
Eastern State.
I think that's all.
Yeah.
Which one's your favorite one we've been to?
Oh, that's hard. Because I like the one in Williamsburg was crazy because I heard something while I was there. I was standing up against a door that went into the dining room.
You thought you heard a knock or a noise?
No, I heard someone giggling.
Okay.
Like I heard a kid giggle on the other side of the door, which was very freaky. So that was interesting. History-wise and experience-wise, I was horribly sick for Eastern State, and it was hot as hell for Waverly Hills. So I would say it's between Williamsburg and West Virginia State Penitentiary for me, I think.
Same here. West Virginia State Penitentiary, I've done 3 tours there now.
It's fascinating. It's unbelievable.
Well, it's cool. The last time we went there, they're like, hey, there's new records we found. That's where the execution place was because they tore it down in a riot and tore down all the records. But they didn't tell you on the tour, but they told me in the first 2 about the hidden pentagram behind the warden's wall in his office.
Interesting.
Well, you have that on your list to eventually do, but Moundsville Penitentiary is a really cool one.
Yeah, it's Moundsville or it's West Virginia State.
Yeah.
Like, okay. The reason it's called Moundsville is because, one, it's located in Moundsville, but across the street is one of the indigenous burial grounds. That's like one of the mounds, which is why it's called Moundsville.
Which we checked out, and that was actually a cool museum there. Oh,
that was fascinating, and you could climb to the top of it.
Yeah,
we
did not do because it's actually a lot of work to do.
It's a lot of work to do, and I'm also not sure how I feel about it.
Yeah.
At least for me, I don't. To me, it just feels
the museum next to it though is worth the visit.
Absolutely. It's hard because I do enjoy, the ghost hunting, and I enjoy like going through paranormal places, but with the indigenous burial ground, like
respect it.
Yeah, you're genuinely walking on top of graves.
Yeah, I forget if that actually one was a gravesite or not. I think it might have been something else.
I don't know, but I'm not gonna.
That they just like to attribute to grave sites, but the information's there at the place. They also had like a fossil of a mastodon and some other animals there, which I thought was cool. Which I love that stuff. But that's all I have on our trip there. I do actually have 2 other investigations I wanted to bring up there.
Okay.
First off, Watcher, Ghost Files did for the first one of Ghost Files.
I thought I wrote about that. I guess I didn't.
I forget if they found anything interesting there or not. The other one I wanted to mention was Astonishing Legends, another podcast. They did an investigation there.
I think didn't we listen to something?
Yeah, and that one guy, there was a voice that he heard over his shoulder and nobody was there, and you can actually hear it in his audio, and it's very clear that somebody said something.
Yeah, I remember we listened to that.
But then there were other ones he mentioned, like, you'd think that this was something, but no, it was idiots being stupid around us.
Yeah.
But then this one, though, was something unexplained.
Yeah.
That's a really good
But yes,
episode.
You're right. I don't remember if BuzzFeed Unsolved did it, and then they redid it on The Watcher, but I'm not 100% sure. I did read that somewhere, and I meant to write that down, and I totally forgot. But yeah, definitely check it out. That was a more recent investigation in the last couple of years compared to the other ones. So lastly, real quick, Waverly Hills Sanatorium is open to the public throughout the year. There are ghost tours available. A lot of the parts have been renovated as of now. I'm not sure how much, just because it's been a couple years since we've been there.
Just been cleaned up too,
and that as well,
because there's a shitload of lead paint and other toxic materials there that they've been getting rid of by looks of over time. But it's hard to get rid of all of them. Like, for example, a building like Waverly Hills cannot always be demolished. Interesting, at where I work, there's a lot of buildings in the area that we'd love to use, but they need to be torn down. They're built with such toxic shit that they can't be torn down without insane costs to it. So we just leave the building sitting there vacant for decades.
Yeah, and which is pretty much what has happened to most of the hospital. It's untouched. People don't go over there. There's parts of the hospital that are closed to the public because they're so dangerous, since it officially closed in the early 1900s. But the money that the owners make from tours and things like that is what they do use for the restorations. So I highly recommend going and doing the tours. It's a lovely group of people who own it. They've replaced all the windows at the bottom, from what I can remember, just, in terms of trying to restore it to a better looking scene.
And if you're interested on going there and doing your own private tour, you can spend $1,100, I think, for 10 people.
Something like that.
So it comes out to 110 people. So, if we get big enough.
And it's like overnight.
If you guys start, supporting us more, like, putting the word out there and we get more people listening, maybe we can, I ain't gonna lie, the goal is to make something out of this podcast and hopefully then reinvest into it and reinvest into going on investigations like this with others. Which I'd love to do. So,
tell your mom about us. Tell your friends. Tell your infant. I don't know. Tell someone.
Tell them, get them young. Indoctrinate them into unknown, unsolved, unseen.
Yeah. But do you want to close this out and tell people where they can tell people to find us?
Yeah. Well, did you ask for my thoughts on Waverly Hills?
Frank, what are your thoughts on Waverly Hills?
I think it's a haunted place, possibly the most haunted in America, and I'd love to go back there and actually do another investigation.
I absolutely want to go back to it. I'm 100% down for that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for asking my thoughts. And so you're ready for me to wrap this up?
I am.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening today to another exciting episode of Unknown, Unsolved, Unseen. If you like what you're listening to, go to our socials and check us out. Our Instagram mainly is where we post, occasionally our TikTok. But thanks to the U.S. government censoring obscene shit, we have not used it as much. And also I'm bad at making TikToks. And our Blue Sky that I don't touch because I'm just lazy. But besides that, mostly our Instagram. And then on whatever you're listening on right now, rate, comment, review, subscribe. Leave a follow or whatever. All of it helps boost us in the algorithm. We really appreciate every little bit of support that you guys give us. And, it keeps going every day. Lets us keep making this podcast. We're making nothing on this right now. We're just taking our time to give you guys our, hard-hitting journalistic opinions on stuff.
Yeah. So this is what we do in our free time. Like I said, we've got full-time jobs. So
yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening then. Come back next week on Monday to listen about something else. I have no idea what I'm doing because I haven't even started writing because my episode for next week is delayed now 3 weeks.
Yep.
It's a collab with Something Strange.
But that's okay. So go check them out in the meantime and check out our other episodes as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for listening. Sage, you ready for the sign out?
Yep. Hit me with it.
Oh, yeah. Remember
to look for
the unknown,
the unsolved,
and the unseen.
Thanks for listening.
Bye, guys.
Happy haunting.
Creeper. Aw, man.